I know, ironic. I am making a video about the dangers of social media Islam on social media. But bear with me. We live in an age where information is abundant, yet wisdom is scarce. Platforms designed for entertainment have become pulpits, and everyone with a camera and some confidence is now a da'i, or one who calls to Allah. Worse yet, a supposed scholar. While the spread of Islamic knowledge online has opened many hearts to truth, we must also recognize the dangers of unregulated, ego-driven social media da'wah, which has actually pushed many away from Islam or confused many sincere truth seekers. As an Imam and community servant who has served in different capacities for nearly a decade, and who now serves in one of America's largest Muslim organizations, I have personally seen the damage that social media has done. I am often answering questions and addressing misunderstandings and the misapplication of Islam among both the youth, the impressionable youth, and impressionable adult practicing believers who are not to blame. That's you, by the way, and others like you. And many that I work with have to unlearn some of what they have learned. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was not only a man of words, he was a man of measured speech. He ﷺ taught us to speak only when the benefit outweighed the harm. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, Allah informs us in the Quran, and speak to people with excellence in Surah Al-Baqarah. Yet, on social media, we often find the opposite. Arrogance, dressed up as scholarship, argumentation and debate mistaken for religious discussion, refutation culture, replacing compassion, personal branding disguised itself as da'wah. This is not the prophetic way. In fact, one of my teachers and mentors, who I am sure many of you actually know, especially if you've watched debates between Muslims and other faith traditions, completely left that world of debate because he told me that although he often won debates, it didn't really change people's hearts. He said that those pro-Islam left with inflated sense of ego, and those anti-Islam left with bruised egos, only to regroup with their respective camps and engage in ever more back and forth. He told me it was not good for his own spiritual development. He realized that this thing is not about being right and winning arguments, and winning arguments that seldom change the hearts of people, but that it's about cultivating beautiful character, about opening people's hearts to loving God. And listen to this. He told me that once, after a debate on a college campus, he had overwhelmed his opponent, but to his shock and disbelief was approached by this opponent in private and offered to go on tour where they would both debate on campuses across the US. Sometimes he would win, and other times his interlocutor would win. In other words, this was about entertainment and making money, not about the truth. Shortly thereafter, he left that world because it was not having the impact that he had hoped. He now is one of America's leading Muslim scholars and does incredible and serious scholarship. Reflect on this. God says in the Quran about the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, "It was by Allah's mercy that you were gentle with them, O Muhammad. Had you been harsh or hard-hearted, they would have fled from you." This is in Surah Ali Imran. If the da'wah you are receiving does not feel like a mercy, it's not da'wah. Another important point to be cautious about is that many chase virality under the banner of Islam. They want to go viral, but going viral is not a mark of divine acceptance. Just because someone may have many followers does not mean they are legitimate. There are social media stars with millions and millions of followers. and oftentimes their material is garbage and a waste of time. In the sphere of religious social media, of social media personalities, there is no difference. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever seeks knowledge to impress the scholars, argue with the foolish, or draw people's attention to himself, Allah will admit him to the fire." So just because it's social media doesn't mean what's happening is and what's being said is of benefit. The intention behind da'wah matters as much as the content itself. If the motive is attention, followers, or self-promotion, then it is not da'wah. It is riya, or showing off, and it threatens the sincerity of the heart. So be cautious if you find that the people you are learning from are into sensationalism, trends, and brands. Moreover, the sacred is not meant to be consumed in 30-second sound bites. The Quran was revealed over 23 years, not 23 seconds. The companions of the Prophet spent years studying one surah or one chapter of the Quran, not scrolling past one after the other in succession, like disposable slogans, skipping over oceans of meaning in pursuit of the next dopamine hit. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, trained and cultivated hearts, not audiences. He was concerned with the souls and salvation of people, not views, likes, and subscribers. One of the greatest dangers on social media is the rise of refutation culture. Accounts and channels exist solely to criticize, to attack, to accuse others of misguidance, disbelief, or innovation, clickbait titles, and so on. The Prophet Muhammad said, peace and blessings be upon him, when a man says to his brother, "You are a kafir," or an open disbeliever, then that accusation, he said, returns to one of them. Meaning that, yes, one of them is in fact that, either the one being accused or the one making the accusation. That is scary enough for one concerned about their spiritual standing with God, that none should be making that accusation. Because if you are wrong in your assumption, you're in a lot of trouble. So steer away from those who make these sorts of accusations and label others. It's clear from that hadith that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, is encouraging us away from such behavior. This obsession with declaring others as astray has no foundation in the Prophet's methodology, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He corrected with gentleness, advised privately, and wept for those he truly feared were lost. Peace and blessings be upon him. Then there are matters of aqidah or creedal theology, or those things we believe, matters of fiqh or Islamic law and practice, and matters of tasawwuf or tazkiyah, or in other words, Islamic spirituality, that require depth, maturity, nuance, and context. To present them to the masses without that care and concern is a disservice to the truth. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Speak to people according to the level of their understanding." Would you want them to reject Allah and His Messenger? The Prophet here, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is teaching us that some things need only be taught to people in a setting that promotes receptivity, with a means that will allow for absorption and understanding, and that perhaps some things need to be withheld altogether until the one learning is ready. You do not teach calculus and other advanced mathematics to those who yet can perform basic algebra. Sure, some things are for social media, while some things are for the classroom. Other things for the minbar, right? Or for the Friday sermons. And still others for the heart in private reflection. Social media is not always the proper place for sacred discourse. If you are committed to learning, please ensure those you are learning from are qualified, serve in official capacities, or at least used to, and have educational training and backgrounds to legitimize their work. I will place a list in the description box of shaykhs, imams, da'is, and speakers that I personally feel can be trusted and may be of benefit to you. This will not be an exhaustive list and will include those from diverse but orthodox backgrounds that you can learn and grow with. For some final words, to the serious student of knowledge, be cautious. Your path is long and riddled with dangers for both your intellectual pursuits and for your nafs, your egos. Have teachers and mentors who have had teachers and mentors in unbroken chains back to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. To the new Muslim, confused by conflicting voices online, be patient and stick with those whose words are rooted in humility and mercy. Islam is a religion of wisdom and compassion. If what you're hearing is not making sense, trust your intuition and change the channel. This is Imam Hisham. Please subscribe to this channel, visit our website linked in the description, and consider supporting our efforts to bring quality material to those serious about cultivating meaningful relationships with Allah. Assalamu alaikum.